Hello, Carol here. I'm just popping on to show you some of my hexagon projects. This year at the patchwork group we've had a hexagon year, and 2 of these projects can be made for a last minute gift, so I thought I would just show you quickly how I made those. I'm showing you this at the same time though because it's made from hexagons. And I wanted to show Catherine from Neat and Knit by the Sea. Next year she's doing mini quilt year, and obviously this is work in progress, but I just thought I'd show you it. Then I will show you the construction of this little pouch. Other people in the patchwork group have made much bigger hexagons and made a shoulder bag, but I wanted to try something different, so I tried this little pouch, and because it was so small and it doesn't stand up on its own, I put a zip in it. And then the last thing is this little hexagon bowl, very simple to make for a table decoration or a gift. I made it because I really needed somewhere to put my clips. So for the green pouch construction, you'll need 15 hexagons, whatever size you want, whether you want a big bag or a small pouch. Mine was about 7.5 centimetres. I'm also going to cut it out of this Jiffy Tex. It depends how rigid you want this to be. Some people did it with wadding in if they want a more supple bag. So my smaller hexagon and the Jiffy Tex, and then I've got a lining hexagon. Now, I left 1.5 centimetres all the way around because I didn't want it to be too invasive, the green over the top. But that was a bit fiddly. You'd probably be better off leaving a little bit more, maybe 2 centimetres. But this was okay. So then you fold it in half and then bring it over the top of your smaller hexagon and clip it in place. Easier to do opposite sides first, I found. Fold it over to the edge of your smaller hexagon. And then fold it over again and clip in place. And then when it comes to the corners, you just do exactly the same thing and you just shuffle it. Is the best way I can really describe it. You just shuffle until you get a nice corner lined up. These clips are really handy for that. And since you're going to applique it anyway, you just going to make sure you catch the corner with your needle when you applique around. And then one little stitch in the corner is all you need really to keep it down. So it's a little invisible stitch, a little applique stitch. Pull those 2 corners together. And then one little stitch to keep them together. I'm using a thread which is a good match for the green, so it'll blend in a little bit more. And then 15 hexagons later, you'll have enough to form your bag. And then you can lay them out like this. So you have 2 rows of 6 and a row of 3 at the bottom. And I just whip stitched these together using my green thread. This is a very nice winter project. Winter project when you can't be bothered to be getting everything out the cupboard and you just want to sit down and do some hand sewing. I'm so not inspired in the winter. Oh, man. And I haven't seen sun for days here. Anyway, I'm going to try not to bring you all down with me. And once you've got your 2 rows of 6 and your row of 3, you can start putting the rows together. So you lay them out like this so that it'll make a circle when you sew up the 2 extremities. And to do this, you just bend them a bit, like you would like English paper piecing or something. So you've sewed up to there, and you want to sew this line together. So you're just going to have to bend that hexagon. Do pay particular attention to the, what do you call this? To the joins. Where there's the 3 corners, I do go over them a bit more. Reinforce it so there's no sly little holes that are going to appear in your bag. And then bend those hexagons out the way, get to the corners, and whip stitch. Whip stitch away to your heart's content until you've whip stitched the whole lot. And now let's have a look at the bag. So if you do a bigger bag and you don't want to zip in, you don't have to do this part, but I don't find it very practical without a zip in on a pouch of this size. So I'm just going to hand stitch a zip in, and the zip's going to go over these 3 next hexagons. To make sure I'm getting it in the right place, I'll draw a line right across the top of these hexagons. That's where I want the zip to line up. That's where I'm going to stitch it in. This is a friction pen. It will just go away with any heat applied to it. I'm just going to tuck under the end of the zip, and then I'm going to do visible stitching. So I'm going to use a herringbone stitch. Come up. I'm going to go down here. I'm looking for the half point. Come up here. Down here, come up here and across. So it makes this crisscross shape. So some embroidery floss in my needle, and we're going to stitch in the zip. So bring it up at the bottom, across and up to the right hand side. Out halfway along at the top. And then crisscross all the way along the zip. Stitching it nice and secure. Being careful not to go right to the front of the pouch. You don't want to see it on the other side, obviously. So just be careful where you're putting your needle. And then when you get to the end, I'm just going to tilt down the zip ever so slightly so it makes this downward motion. And now we can see that when we turn in the 2 sides, we need to sew these up so it makes a complete circle. And then with the 3 on the bottom, we just have to turn them up so it's in half to make the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to sew this up from the wrong side of the fabric. Just squish it together and whip stitch like I did the other ones. So that's the circle complete. And once you've got the circle, it's easy to put the zip in the other side. So we'll quickly do that. Just a lot of shuffling around again. So zip in place, and now I just have to stitch up these 3 final hexagons. And there we go, done. So the little hexagon bowl is done in exactly the same way with some Jiffy Tex. If you're feeling inspired, you can imagine all sorts of things, can't you, with these hexagons? I did a little bit of embroidery just to make the flowers pop a little bit more. So I was a little bit more precise with this one. I ironed it down and I think it did look better. This is the construction. Be careful when you're putting it together that this bit is going to go to the top, that you'll see more, and you sew these two, and these two sides together to get a bowl. So it's really simple, so fast and fun to do. Perfect for an inspiring drab winter. I'm wishing you all the best. Let's all appreciate the last moments of 2024. I love a new year. Out with the old, in with the new. Happy 2025 to everybody. That's all for now. Bye bye.